Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, Hobart property owners could soon be stung by a proposed ban on new permits for short stay accommodation. As we go to air, Hobart City Council's Planning Committee is voting on the changes in a bid to address the state's housing crisis.
It's no secret Hobart's housing prices are jumping through the roof, and a vote by Council's Planning Committee is hoping to address the property squeeze, but not everyone is happy.
Another distraction from the true root cause, which is more homes. Even with every short stay property returned to the market, our housing crisis will be far from solved.
The association says investors shouldn't bear the brunt of Tasmania's housing crisis, and the issue should be dealt with at a statewide level.
We could have 29 different policies, for example, based on councils. That's nonsensical. So a change this dramatic should really be looked at from a statewide perspective.
Because short stay plays a different role in Hobart to it does in St Helens, you need to actually be able to look at evidence and make good policy decisions on that.
Airbnb warns the decision could damage the local economy, with many tourists relying on the service during major events. But Mona wants to see more Tasmanians able to enter the property market.
The Airbnb is making rents unaffordable for people at the moment. It's definitely contributing to it, so I think there's some reform is needed.
We need to do everything we can to increase the supply of rental properties in Hobart, but more broadly across the state.
In a statement, a council spokesperson said the process could take up to 9 months to implement, and the changes will only apply to new permits for entire dwellings, meaning current permit holders won't be affected. The proposed permit change will be discussed by Council next week, but it's the Tasmanian Planning Commission that will have the final say. AINSLEY, KOCH, 7 Tasmania News.
To developing news now, and fire crews are on the scene of a major blaze at a Hobart school. Reporter John Hunt is on the scene now and joins us. Now, John, what can you tell us?
Kim, TFS crews are currently trying to contain a fire on the site of Guilford Young College's GLENORCHY campus. Emergency services were called to the school around 4:30 p.m. TFS crews are battling the blaze from the ground and from their crane. Smoke is billowing from the building and can be seen across Hobart. Traffic diversions are also in place around Bowen and Regina Street for the moment, with motorists asked to obey restrictions. So Kim, it's looking like it will be a long night for emergency services here on the scene.
Okay, thanks very much, John. John Hunt there in Glenorchy. Well, Tasmania's daily COVID case numbers have fallen for the third day in a row, with 1,304 new cases recorded. But the state is nearing an unwanted milestone as active cases sit just below 10,000. 24 people are in hospital with the virus, 2 are in ICU. Well, Devonport locals say they heard a large bang when a Commodore crashed into a business on Forbes Street overnight. It's understood the 25-year-old driver lost control of the vehicle, crossing 2 lanes of traffic and smashing into a gutter before ramming the side of Playfish Cafe, causing extensive damage. Nearby residents rushed outside to see a huge chunk of the wall missing.
Everybody just heard an almighty bang. Fortunately, nobody was out on the street.
Police nabbed the driver, who has been charged with drink driving and other traffic offences. They're still asking any witnesses to come forward with information. A man in his 80s has died on a rural property after a workplace incident in Campania. Police were called to the property on Colebrook Road just after midday following reports an excavator had rolled. The driver was found dead at the scene. Police and WorkSafe Tasmania will prepare a report for the coroner. The crippling costs of living will only be compounded in winter, according to welfare advocates who believe it could be the most financially difficult period on record. It's led to calls for urgent government intervention to help ease the burden.
Bills, groceries and now fuel, just some of the blown out weekly costs that continue to hit the hip pocket.
It has gone up a lot, but we just get what we need now.
It's forced charity worker Travis Embling to weigh up every trip, every purchase, but he's one of the lucky ones. He owns his own house. Others in his suburb are struggling to pay rent.
It is very hard. The rent needs to be paid. So then they've got to cut back on the things that they really like to do.
In a year, beef has jumped 9%, vegetables and childcare noticeably more expensive too, petrol 53% higher, and median house prices soaring by almost a quarter.
Cost of living pressures are really quite extreme for Tasmanians right now.
Coupled with the crippling rental market, it's pushing more to seek help.
The rent's gone up by $80 to $100. They've somehow got to hang on, because they know that there's nothing else out there in the market.
City Mission has noticed a 10% spike in demand for its services since Christmas. Welfare advocates are warning of another approaching cost, heating. They believe this winter for many could be the most financially difficult on record.
That's going to be another pressure along with fuel and groceries.
TASCOS has demanded both the federal and state governments offer urgent support to those struggling, calling for increases to both job seeker and rental assistance to ease the burden. But in the short term, the only option for so many is to grin and bear it. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
The federal government has been accused of leaving Bell Bay in the dark over whether it will be selected as a hydrogen hub. Last year, it was named as a possible site for the Commonwealth's $464 million clean energy investment. But federal Labor claims there's been no action since.
They've announced a series of potential sites. Bell Bay doesn't know if being a potential site is a ticket to being a site.
Labor has committed to investing in Bell Bay if it wins government. Member for Bass, Bridget Archer, says she believes the region does have a place as a hydrogen hub. The RACT says redevelopment of the Tasman Highway is urgently needed, calling for funds to be allocated during the federal election campaign. It's the top of the road advocacy's group election wish list as they back the state government's 10-year plan to mend the Great Eastern Drive. Officials are hoping for $50 million in upgrades, which could be funded by the road excise tax.
Over the past decade, just 53% of that money raised has actually gone on transport infrastructure.
They're warning inaction could cause a rise in fatalities, with 9 recorded in the state this year so far. Extra funding has been announced for the Glenorchy Jobs Hub to keep it operating until 2025. The outlet has already helped 200 people find work, and the state government now wants to expand its services further into the community.
Now in operation for 7 months, the team at the Glenorchy Jobs Hub have seen their share of applicants come through the door.
We have placed 226 people into jobs, and we've had almost 600 people register.
This is one of 7 outlets in the state, with the network formed in August last year.
Every community has its own challenges. It needs a local, tailored response.
Another $1.65 million will be poured into the Glenorchy Centre over the next 3 years.
They've also supported people to get the training that we need to be compliant, so when people come to us, they're literally ready to walk into a job.
One benefit of the program, keeping workers in local jobs, businesses in the area saying they have roles to fill.
The NDIS is expected to require another 2,000 to 4,000 people in the next 2 years in Tasmania.
Officials are hoping for a large turnout at the Glenorchy Jobs Hub Fair tomorrow, with 30 organisations set to gather on the council lawns. Local schools will be attending in an attempt to see young people staying engaged with work.
We're happy for students to move on to full-time meaningful employment, and there'll be opportunities here, I'm sure, in traineeships and apprenticeships.
BRIANNA BOYLEN, 7 Tasmania News.
A downsized Harmony Day celebration has taken place for migrant families. COVID isolation drastically reduced the annual event at the Migrant Resource Centre.
Usually we do have a big celebration, but COVID's put a little bit of a dampener on things this year. But yeah, some families have still come along for the day, so that's great.
Harmony Day celebrates the state's diverse fabric of cultures. 2 Tasmanian brand icons have joined forces, with Cascade and Cadbury launching a dark chocolate version of the brewery's famous export stout just in time for Easter. The smooth brew will only be made available in Tasmania, but thirsty fans will have to move fast to snap up a carton.
Raising a can to toast a job well done. What began as a thought bubble between this couple fizzed into 2 favourites coming together.
And Jessie introduced me to that old gold chocolate with a stout, and then my love grew from there.
We do talk about it all the time, and it was inevitable that we wanted to bring our two passions together.
After a year of experimenting, Export Stout and Old Gold Chocolate are now in a can. Much like the pairing of wine with food, the combination took time to develop.
Chocolate normally you can't just put in beer because of the fat content, so we had to come up with a way to get the chocolate bold flavours into our stout.
Their similar characteristics making the pair an ideal match.
Both accentuate bittersweet flavours and bold chocolate characters.
You're not looking for something super sweet, so our Cadbury Old Gold brand was kind of perfect for it. It's bold, it's strong.
It's a special time for both of the iconic Tasmanian brands. Cadbury turns 100 this year, while Cascade celebrates its 200th birthday in 2024.
It's a perfect pairing of Tassie manufacturing coming together.
If you want to get your hands on a slab, you better get in quick. Just 5,000 cases are being made available at selected Dan Murphy's, BWS and independent liquor stores.
If you're from the mainland, I would book a flight. It's going to be one of the best stouts going around.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Training on the beach is meant to be good for you, so a Tasmanian apprentice jockey's rapid rise should come as no surprise. Cody Jordan and her mare Boom.com will soon swap the sand for Sandown when the pair heads to Victoria to race against the nation's best apprentices.
The track condition here is always soft. The beach and Bass Strait make up a beautiful daily walk for 5-year-old mare Boom.com and her apprentice jockey Cody Jordan.
The beach here, we're so grateful for it. It really changes the horses' attitudes up. They're all relaxed.
Next week is the biggest opportunity to date for the Wesley Vale duo. They're representing Tasmania in the final round of Australia's top series for apprentice jockeys, which pits state against state and has been running since 2008. Brandon Louis finished third for Tasmania in the first round of the series in Strathalbyn.
Get a bit more exposed out there and a few more opportunities will come up.
With sand so often underfoot, it's ironic the pair is heading to Sandown in Victoria for the series. Weighing in at just 51 kilos, the 24-year-old gave her parents a little trepidation when she first embarked on a career on horseback, but they're now big fans.
Dad was a bit iffy. It's a bit unknown riding a big 500-kilo animal.
In the second year of her apprenticeship, Cody is becoming more familiar with the unfamiliar. Like many new jockeys, she sometimes has next to no notice of what horse she'll be riding on the day and what their personality is like.
A lot of people are good with the horses that they present us to the races, so it's easy.
But with Boom.com, the connection is natural. Cody will be the last of 4 Tasmanians racing in the series when she hits the track on Wednesday week. Following their strong start in Sydney, Shell V-Power Racing will arrive in Tasmania this week with Anton Di Pasquale just 12 points from the championship lead. His veteran teammate Will Davison says results often hang on qualifying form.
Often you see 10 cars covered by 1/10 of a second, so you've got to be absolutely perfect. There's not too many corners to make up your ground.
Racing at Symmons Plains is on this weekend. The Tasmanians have had a hot start to the Australian Off-Road Championship season, with Kyron Bacon claiming back-to-back wins in the series opener in Queensland. Riding a Yamaha in the E1 class, the Somerset local says the Sunshine State's rough and wet tracks were similar to what he's used to in Tassie. Railton's Jonty Reinders also finished on the podium, claiming second overall in the E3, while Tate Young also had a place in the top 3, finishing third in the J4 class. The series heads to Mackay in April. And Jed Beaton has finished 13th and 11th in the Motocross Grand Prix in Argentina. Unlike some other riders, the Tasmanian managed to stay upright over the 2 races. He remains in the top 10 in the championship standings.
Good evening. Grove, Bushy Park and Ouse our top today with 25 degrees. Hobart and Launceston 23, Burnie and Devonport reached 21. Temperatures between 1 and 4 above average for this time of year. King and Flinders Islands 23, Strawn and Smithton 22, Lowhead 21, St Helens and Friendly Beaches 20. Mid to low cloud over the north and east today, higher level cloud over remaining areas. A few light showers over the east out of all that, nothing of note. More cloud over coastal Victoria and further north, a band of high clouders over central WA extending over the Bight, thunderstorms over northern Queensland. Tomorrow a trough crosses our region, followed by a cold front in the evening. A trough cuts through the mainland as tropical cyclone Charlotte sits off the far northwest. Northwest to southwest winds 10 to 20 knots, but increasing to 25 to 30 knots by evening over the southwest. Lighter winds over the lakes. So in the southwest, we have a strong wind warning between Southeast Cape and Low Rocky Point. Tuesday in Hobart, 19 with showers developing. 90% chance of rain there, 80% for Adventure Bay. Showers developing too for Tarraleah, 17 the top. Launceston 23 with showers on the way. Also for Devonport, a high of 20, 22 the top for Bridport. Burnie expecting a high of 20 with showers. Showery for Strawn, 18, 19 the high for Marrawar. St Helens, a high of 23 with showers developing. Same for Swansea, 21 the maximum, 22 the high for Whitemark. A shower later in the day on Flinders. There's the UV at 7 and high tomorrow. On Wednesday, showers over the west and far south, otherwise fine and partly cloudy. Possible shower for Curry added to the mix on Thursday. And on Friday, another morning shower over the west with the sun peeking through over the north. A sunny 28 in Perth tomorrow. Possible shower for Adelaide, sunny and 27 in Sydney. 30 and a fine day for Brisbane. And pardon me, Hobart cloudy and 20. Launceston cloudy at the moment and 19 degrees, cloudy in Devonport and 18. Round 1 of the AFL through, Kim, and after watching it on the weekend, I'm pretty sure this red and white tie is going to get plenty of views this year.
Oh, it's early days, early days. Those Eagles, I'll be back, maybe. That's all your news for now. We'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.